Hello, and thank you for joining this brand new episode of Speaking of Happy with your host, Eli Rigatuzzo.
On the show tonight is Babygirl, who's done drag all over the Midwest. She started out in Omaha and then moved to Lincoln, where she created Nebraska's first drag show featuring all Black entertainers.
Thanks for joining us for this brand new episode of Speaking of Happy, starting right now.
That promo makes me kind of laugh because I sound like my voice is cracking at the end. Starting right now. But it's just me being goofy. Hey, y'all. Here we are, live again on a Tuesday night at 9 p.m. For those of you who are tuning in and don't already know this, we moved our show times for Speaking of Happy and Frankly Speaking. We decided Tuesday nights, 9 p.m., and we're rotating every other week. This week is Speaking of Happy. Next week will be Frankly Speaking. Get it? Alternating every other week. Yay! And my being a goof is what comes naturally with the space. Because, hey, that's what I do, right? For those of you who might be joining for the first time, Speaking of Happy is this fun little thing I decided to create many moons ago. Actually, over a decade ago. I can't believe that I created it in 2009. I created Speaking of Happy, and it was my desire at the time to just start sharing stories of our local LGBTQ plus folks living right here in the Midwest. And, you know, the whole we're here, we're queer, get used to it. And bringing that to the virtual platform so that people could start to just know that, hey, you know what? We're here. We live here. We work here. We have families here. And just to kind of, you know, add a little bit of quote unquote normalcy. Although I hate to use that word because I ain't ever going to be normal. I don't want to be normal because normal people suck. So if you're aspiring to be that, don't take it personally. So I started the show because I wanted people to learn about who we are, right? Well, then I interviewed this really extraordinary trans man. His name's Ryan Salins, and I interviewed him in 2009. I still have the footage somewhere on an old tape, and have thought to myself I should do something with this footage. But I wasn't ready to come out as trans myself. So I got all confronted. I mean, I had created all the spaces on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, all the things, had all the handles for Speaking of Happy. And then I kind of went underground until 2015 when I thought, you know what? I'm trans. And so I said, it's time to come out, y'all. And decided to officially launch Speaking of Happy and do the thing, right? For those of you who are who are sharing comments, hello, Ayana. Oh my God, you are not late. Hello. Great. Thank you for joining. And Kiana's just sending some love. I bet that's for Babygirl, though. I bet that's a Babygirl fan right there. And this is Teresa says, I'm here. We are here too. And for those of you who are tuning in for our main attraction this evening, we'll get right to it, right? We'll just get right to it. I'm going to bring my special, amazing, wonderful, talented, extraordinary friend, Babygirl, joining me on the show.
Hi, Eli. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so good.
Besides those fabulous earrings.
Oh, thank you. I had to put on some drags for you.
Hey, I was wondering, though, about the t-shirt. I was thinking, you know, this would have been a great time for you to sport a Babygirl t-shirt.
Oh, yes. Right now, I'm actually wearing a good old Vanna B t-shirt. She's actually here in Des Moines. She's the one of our saddle girls.
No.
I do have a Babygirl t-shirt somewhere around here. So I should have put that on. Oh, well.
Another comment. Look at our amazing mother.
Oh, thank you. Love you.
Another Babygirl fan.
Kiana, love you. Hi, Teresa.
We also got another one. It's for everyone. That's
All the
right.
love for everybody.
Oh my God, it's RuPaul.
That's my obnoxious daughter, of course.
I love it. All right, all right, all right. So look, I saw you posting because I have to say I am very sorry that I cannot personally say that I've ever been to a Melanin Magic show, but it's because I'm old.
Okay. I don't blame you one
I own
bit.
that. I own that. It
Well,
is
especially
very
being in
rare.
Lincoln, and we start at 10:30, so sometimes that's a rough one.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could probably come down and like get a hotel room close to the
Yeah.
venue and like
Hoping we can, we'll actually be doing a brunch pretty soon, which I'm sure we'll get into, but yeah.
yeah. But anyway, but I've been a fan. I always share your stuff on social media when you're out there promoting a show. And so just tell me, like, how did you, first of all, what got you started performing?
Um, Actually, it was, I just kind of stumbled upon it. We went to, me and a couple friends from Omaha. I don't even think I was 21 yet. If I was just turning 21. And I actually didn't know there was drag in Nebraska. I knew there was drag, but not on, I guess not at the caliber I thought it would be at. We actually went to the alley um, in Lincoln from Omaha to see Violet Chachki. She was in town. So I was like, oh, okay, wow, she's on TV. Let's go. That'll be fun. And then what happened was I fell in love with everybody else. Um, all the other entertainers in the show. I was just blown away that we had um, such great like entertainers in the middle of the country. I had no idea that that was even a thing in Nebraska. So ever since, I would come out to the alley in drag. I started getting in drag. Maybe it wasn't the best drag for a little while, but I would show up, and I got to know some of the queens. And then before you knew it, I was in a show, and then I just kept going from there. So
Well, I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, right?
right,
And then you
right.
just build on it. And I've actually watched you evolve. Oh, look at Teresa. Teresa says, I can Uber you, Eli.
Yeah, well, that's a long Uber all the way from Des Moines, Teresa.
That is a long Uber. I love it. Yeah, but I have watched you evolve, and I love the fact that you're edgy. Like you're performing, you're styling, like just the images that you even sent me. You're just so edgy.
Oh, well, I
And
appreciate that.
yeah, what had you like create your style? Where did you come up with your style?
Sure. I feel like I've just always been attracted to kind of the bizarre kind of I don't know if you're familiar with like the show Dragula, like that style of maybe I'm not usually as visually I don't know, scary or whatever, but I kind of like to mix the two. I like to, be that pretty girl that goes out there but just does some wild shit. Like the one you wouldn't really expect to do all that wild stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're showing just a little bit, and then once you
Yeah.
get a little further into it, it's like, whoa.
Right.
I like that shock factor though too. That is
Yeah.
an
And
interesting.
I love to go out in just like a real pretty dress and just do a ballad and then next number just go crazy.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So you do have a show coming up. So you do the last Saturday of the month
Yes.
at Dot's House. You do Melanin Magic. Can you tell me, how did Melanin Magic evolve?
Sure.
Where'd
Yeah.
you-
I got to think back. We've actually only gone our third year now. Um, I always wanted to. Well, when I started, um, we had our black entertainers, but it was the alley had just closed down, so a lot of the people that I was really uh, I had looked up to, they had kind of taken a little bit of a break. So it was really just like a newer generation, just kind of as soon as Doss House in Lincoln opened, kind of a clean slate for us to all come in. And I noticed it was just um, throughout Omaha and Lincoln, I just hadn't seen or been in that many shows where the majority of entertainers were even of color, let alone Black entertainers. So um, I just said, well, if nobody else is doing it right now, I want to do it. So I approached Boss House about doing a show with just all Black entertainers. Um, and it wasn't from Das House that I got. It wasn't even negative feedback, but it was a lot of questions were asked, a lot of doubt. Everybody said, "Well, do we have enough Black entertainers in Nebraska to do that successfully?" But now here we are on our third year, so clearly we got our answer.
Clearly, there are plenty.
Plenty. There, yes.
More than sustainable.
Oh yes. I struggle sometimes even because we do have a set cast. Actually, I think Felicia Savage now has a wonderful show that she's starting called Tea Night. So that would be the other set cast. But I think out of those two shows, we're the only ones with set cast. So it's actually hard to even include everyone now because we have our set cast, and I almost wish we could do it every night of the week because there's just so much talent that I'd love to fit in.
Okay, so when you say set cast, you pretty much say these are the folks that are Melanin Magic, and that's it.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There are cast every single month. Yes.
Ah, okay. And so tell me a little bit about the cast.
Yeah. So we have. It's actually pretty funny now because we started out. Everyone was from Lincoln, or we had a couple people from Omaha. Some of us have moved. So now our cast is almost. You can see us all throughout the Midwest. I'm in Des Moines now. We have Ristina. We all know Ristina. She just moved to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
She's doing great out there. We have Chanel Savage, who is just a legend. She's done it all.
Oh, amazing. And the other thing about Chanel, and actually Rustina does as well, but Rustina doesn't do this very often, is both of them have amazing voices, like actual singing voices that are blow you away singing voices.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll be at a drag show and somebody's singing. It's not. They are not some karaoke girls. They can belt it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I love that. That's good. Who else? Anybody else?
We have Josh Adore, Josh Adore DeVoe, who is formerly Josh Adore Shaker. She can do it all. She can dance the house down. She's also a very good singer. A lot of people don't know that. Stage presence amazing. We have LSD Roxia. She's another one where, like you said, if you like an edgy performer, she's the one to go to. She's great.
Well, hence LSD Roxia.
Exactly. All right.
I mean, I don't know. Might be in the name.
Right. It might, context clues. Yeah. And then we have the legendary Coco Nuts.
Nice.
Coco is when I talked about that first time at the alley, she was probably the biggest inspiration for me when I started drag. To see a Black entertainer when I didn't even know there were drag queens, period, have that much power on and command over a stage was amazing. So we love Coco. And then we have Von Gorgeous. Von Gorgeous has been doing it for a minute. She is former Heartland Pride. She's just a ball of fire. One of my favorites.
You're like, oh, did I get
I hope I got everybody. Oh no, we have a recent addition to our cast actually. Trigga Sanchez from Des Moines as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Very nice. So that's how many total you're looking at?
I believe we have 8, including myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that is quite a lineup. You know, I'll tell you what. Yeah. Here's something that I think is really like that I absolutely love, especially about your show. And I'm this close, but I'm not sure yet because I'm a huge Janet Jackson fan.
Oh, yeah.
Massive Janet Jackson fan. Like, let me just talk about a little throwback to the Rhythm Nation days when
yes, of course.
I was formerly female presenting myself, as I say, one of the most beautiful drag queens you've ever met. And I had this like whole Like, no kidding. I had this whole look. Like, I had a beret and I had my Rhythm Nation double-breasted jacket and
The
there
whole
were
shebang.
yeah, the whole shebang. And I mean, there was a drag queen in Omaha from way back then that quite frequently did a lot of Janet Jackson, and I just loved her, and I wish I could remember her name. I don't know whatever became of her or where she went, but she was probably the first Black drag queen that I ever met, and that was back in the 90s.
Okay. I know
And
maybe Ashley Simone. I don't know.
I don't, and
She's
maybe,
been
but I
around for a
know that
while.
people quite frequently thought she did a really great Janet Jackson impersonation.
Oh,
And
yes.
so but there were a lot of people because at one point I did have very long curly hair, and I don't know why, but people used to, say that I looked like Janet Jackson. I was like, "Okay, you gotta get your eyes checked." I mean, I think I'm an okay looking person, but
Oh,
but not not
I would
not
love to see it. I want.
not to
You're gonna
that
have to.
caliber.
You're gonna have to find some pictures or something. I want to see.
I'll pull some pictures out for you and I'll
Right.
share. So the 29th at Doss House in Lincoln, show starts at 10:30,
Yes.
right?
Yep. 10:30.
Melanin
Yep.
Magic tribute to Janet Jackson, which is
Yes.
super exciting. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I still have some time. It's only the 18th. The show's not
Right. You've
until
got a little bit of time.
I might just, who knows? Maybe I'll get a room and I'll come down and I'll sleep in late.
I'll get you a VIP table right up front. We'll
Well,
clear it
I'll
out.
tell you what. I went to a show. The first time I was ever at Doss House was, Danielle Renee, right?
Oh, of course.
Danielle
Yeah.
Powell. Okay, who doesn't
Yeah.
know Danielle, right?
Right.
Danielle had a birthday bus, and we went left Omaha, drove to Lincoln to Doss House because Bob the drag queen was there.
Oh, yes. I was there. Yes, at the alley.
Yep. And I
Yep.
got to meet Bob the drag queen and like the whole nine. And just like there were so many drag queens. I didn't even realize that there were that many amazing drag queens in Lincoln. I knew that there were a lot
Right.
of really talented drag queens in Omaha. But I didn't know that there were as many in Lincoln. So it's just very cool. Very awesome. I've
Right.
always been a huge supporter of drag performers. I have used to when I when I used to stay up way late, go to a lot of the drag shows. Used to love to go to them. So I'm excited when things start to happen a little earlier in the day, which is like, Cece's drag brunch that's happening.
Right.
So doing the one in Lincoln and then now she's doing one in Omaha, which is amazing. I went to that one this past Sunday. It was such a blast. And let's see here. Somebody's asking, oh, we got to give you a little love. Ayana says, House of Luciano loves you. I'm
Oh,
proud of
yes.
you and everything you've done. There's another one. Proud of you, mama.
I love y'all.
Share a little bit about that, about the whole family thing. For
Yeah.
those who might
So,
be joining in and don't know.
so in the little drag world, we have houses, we have families. Um, I'm from the House of Tension. I don't know if you all know I'm sure you all do, Miss Katya Tension. She moved to Fort Lauderdale just recently. Um, she's still currently the Miss Gay Iowa, reigning. I have all my sisters. We have Florence. I have my brother Charlie, our gayest Tension, and then recently I adopted Miss Dior and Saint, and we have our own little house now, the Lucianos. So, and they're killing
Yes.
it. I'm very proud. Yeah.
My granddaughter Ayana.
Yes, 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 yes.
Love her. She is just amazing. So I love that. I love that whole people think that this was just something that got started in Pose, right? And that
Right.
don't realize that actually, I've actually heard people talk about Pose thinking that wasn't anything that really actually happened even in history. And I'm like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
my God,
No, it's fully, yeah, still going today.
absolutely going
Yeah.
strong today. So
Very strong.
Yeah. And I think, and more so even with shows like RuPaul's Drag Race has helped. I think the show that's really making a huge splash though is We're Here.
Mm-hmm. I
I
have
think,
not actually seen it yet, but
ugh,
I've heard nothing but good things.
oh my gosh, it really is. I love they have a great mix of the three queens that go
Right.
out and do the thing, right? Shangela and Bob the drag queen, who I mean,
I
Bob
love
the drag
Bob.
queen is extraordinary. Like, what
Yeah.
an extraordinary human, right?
Yeah.
And then, oh, now I'm gonna have a brain fart because my old brain isn't gonna pay too much Eureka. Yes.
Yes, Eureka. Yep.
Yes. I have watched every show from all the seasons because my sis, Shug de la Cruz, was
Yes, yes.
in the first season because one of her friends from the New Mexico area was on the show and performed. And
Okay.
then Shug was on the show and talked about being Two Spirit and some of the things that we as Indigenous folks, the disparities that we face
Right.
being Indigenous and LGBTQ, which is, real similar to folks who are Black and brown, right? Black, brown, and
Absolutely.
Indigenous.
Absolutely.
I say it that way all the time because it's very specific what we're talking about, very specific. So I love that there are so many more people um, who are starting to like open up and be, more inquisitive and more supportive of folks within the community. So I think we've seen
Absolutely.
a really large shift, especially in regard to the pandemic. I think there were a lot more people who were consuming things online and had access to things online that they really didn't have access to before.
Right.
And
Yes.
and I think that also just made such a huge difference in uh, the community. There's still it's interesting because when I was posting pictures that I was out in West Omaha at this, the Barrel and Vine,
Hmm.
a friend of mine was like, "Oh my god, I live out in West Omaha in that area near that place, and are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she says, "Okay, well, there must be a different crowd there today, because there certainly
Oh,
isn't the same kind of crowd there normally." And I just was like,
okay.
wow, like, I mean, it really honestly, it felt like I was in a bar in West O that was totally LGBTQ plus friendly,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I mean, it was truly phenomenal. A packed house, sold out.
Yeah, it's incredible. Here in Des Moines, we have it's you wouldn't believe the amount of drag brunches that have come up lately. It's
Mm.
almost to the point where you cannot go into a restaurant, any random restaurant in downtown Des Moines on a Sunday or anywhere in Des Moines on a Sunday morning and not see a drag queen. And
Wow.
yeah, almost every single one of them is sold out. It's it's
Well,
incredible.
tell me a little bit about what you're doing there at is it the Garden Restaurant and
Yeah, the
what's
Garden Restaurant and Show Lounge. Yes.
okay?
Yep, I'm a cast member there. I host Thursdays every other second, fourth Thursday. I can't say right now. We are going to do a little something special coming up pretty soon that Nebraska might even be able to get involved in. I can't say right now, but that'll be coming up. Right now we're uh, doing some just like theme drag shows. Every other Thursday. Um, Perform there on the weekends a lot. And then we have the great thing about Des Moines, I'll say, is there really is like a good sense of community. We have two, three actually gay bars on one block. Um, so we just we're always hopping back and forth. And another thing is like there's just drag every day of the week. On
Wow.
the only day that there's not is Monday. So
Wow.
you can go out on a Tuesday, you'll see a drag queen. A Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday. So
So would you
always
say that
something to
the
do.
atmosphere is pretty, pretty open and accepting in Des Moines, more so
I
than
would
other areas, or
within its close knit community, at least I would say. But then again, like I said, you have these drag brunches. Um, they're just popping up left and right, and they go all the way from West Des Moines, which is very much same as West Omaha, that type of environment, all the way to almost Altoona, which is the exact opposite direction. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Interesting. So is that what brought you to Des Moines? Is that there was opportunity to be more involved doing drag stuff in Des Moines than there was here in Omaha?
I would say for the most part. Um, I'm seeing Omaha though. We're getting a lot more, or they're getting a lot more drag brunches. Like Cece's doing amazing, and Felicia with her brunch. I know Lady Edamame. I know she's doing a lot of brunches. Um, I know they're starting to do dinner shows and things like that. So I love seeing stuff like that. I think the more opportunities for performers, the better.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I love, and probably not just because I'm old, but I have a lot of things going on. And so sometimes it's like hard for me to try to pull myself away for a minute, but like that brunch was perfect. I got there at 11, sat down at the bar because they had no open seats. Like there was a couple of tables left, but that was really it. And I didn't want to take up a whole table. So I
Right.
sat at the bar, but I mean, the show was phenomenal. The performers were amazing. And it was like I spent a couple of hours there and then I came home and did some work.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's how you easy peasy.
yeah. And so I'm like, hey, now we just need to get more stuff happening here closer to downtown, more drag
Yes.
brunches. But I think the
Right.
biggest problem that we run into when you start to have them like midtown and downtown is there's always a parking issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
See again,
We have that here too.
that's the
Yeah.
old
It's
man.
always no. You're totally right. It takes an hour just to get a parking spot,
And then you have to park,
and
but
you're
you
running
still have to
late.
park like a mile and a half away from the venue and you got to
Right.
walk and
Exactly.
ugh. I mean, I don't know who
Especially in the
designs
snow.
some
It's
of
not
this
fun.
stuff. Yeah, right. Exactly. But I do know that there's some opportunities to be able to like park close by now, and then there's buses and whatever that can take you. But anyway,
Right.
that's just silly. So
Yeah.
tell me, what would you say is what do you aspire to? Where do you aspire to be in 3 to 5 years from now in your performing career?
Sure. I honestly couldn't tell you. In all honesty, I couldn't tell you. I'm in it for the ride.
Yeah.
Wherever I land, as long as I'm still doing it, I'll be content.
And so
I will say, I'd like to get to a point where, I can fully just be, not that I'm not right now, but just fully stable, comfortable, just performing for sure.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that is, that I think there are a lot of folks who aspire to be in that place, right? Especially
Absolutely. Yeah.
performers, because I mean, why not do something that you love, right? And then be
Yeah,
compensated for it as well.
exactly.
Aw, I like this comment.
Oh.
Yes, Babygirl has definitely done that. I think it's just because you were just so darn sweet. Even with that,
Oh.
like, rough exterior,
Mhm.
you are so sweet and down to earth, and, like, that's the thing that attracts me to you the most, is just, like, no matter how you're dressed externally, your heart, like, shines through,
Oh.
and I just love that. When I took that picture of you at Pride, this past Pride in
Oh
Lincoln,
my goodness. That is,
and you
I couldn't, that was the best picture. And I had no idea you were taking it. That's
well,
maybe
you
my
looked
favorite picture of,
amazing.
thank
Aw,
you. Yeah, probably
but
my favorite picture of myself I have.
aw. Well, I'll have to dig it out and maybe I'll make you a big canvas print of it as a
Oh,
gift.
I would absolutely
You
love
can
that.
just
It would
have
be
it
hanging
hanging
right,
somewhere
it'll
in
be
your
hanging somewhere around here.
That's awesome. So tell me what else is coming up. What else are you what yeah, I know you hinted to something and you can't give any more information out about that, but you should promise to come back and let me know as soon as you're
Oh,
able to.
absolutely.
Let me
Absolutely.
know, so that we can share the good news. And what do we have here? We love Miss Gigi. Okay. Now, who are you, Gigi? Are they referring
No,
to you?
so Ayana is referring to Gigi. That's her drag daughter. So I'm
Mm.
at the ripe age of 26. I'm a grandma.
Oh, look at you. Well, I'm a trampa at the ripe age of 56 and a half.
You're a great trampon now, I guess.
Yeah, see? I guess I am. Goodness sakes, a great
I
trampa.
know they're aging us.
These kids these days,
I know. I can't. I tell you what.
right? Well, okay. So we have plenty of time to chat here. So this is your
Yeah,
time. What else do you want to share with me? We're
yeah. So we were talking about Cece's brunch. I'm actually collaborating with Cece. We're going to do Melanin Magic and the drag brunch um, combined in one in Lincoln,
Yay. So
February. I hope I get this right. 27th, I believe.
I'll pull it up quick while you keep talking.
Yeah, yeah. It's the last. I know it's the last Sunday of February. We have our show, our regular Melanin Magic show the night before, and then we're gonna wake up early, go to Longwell's, and our cast, or the majority of our cast, we're gonna do a good old drag brunch at Longwell's. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for that.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm on the page here. Lincoln. Oh, yes. Sunday, February 27th.
That's right.
2 shows, 11 AM and 1
Yes, and
PM.
1 p.m. Yes.
I
Yes,
will
yes,
have
yes.
to put that in my calendar because I might make it out there for that.
Yeah, I did CC brunch at Longwell's a couple months ago. I've been to almost every one because it's great the way that one works out. She has it every last Sunday. So when I'm in town for Melanin Magic, I just stay the night, hop up for brunch the next morning usually. So yeah,
Oh,
that's a great brunch she's got going.
just hearing you say that you do a night show and then and
Yeah.
hop up and go.
I
I
wouldn't. I
mean,
wouldn't. I should rephrase that. I will sluggishly roll off whatever couch I'm staying on, and then hobble into brunch.
well, maybe that's the week. That's the weekend. So what I could do is I could get a hotel room that's close to all of those things, and then you can like I'll of course be asleep by the time you're done at the bar in the evening.
Right.
You could come and hang out in the hotel room, go to sleep, and then drag yourself to brunch in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds
Or I can drag you.
perfect. Yeah, somebody will drag me.
Somebody will drag you. Oh yes. Oh yes. Kiana is mentioning Miss Gay Iowa. We got to talk about
Mm,
that. You got something in the works
yes.
there.
Yeah. So February, or I'm sorry, get my dates all mixed up. January 29th, I believe, is just a couple weeks away. I'm running for Miss Gay Iowa. Um, so the way Iowa works, Miss Gay Iowa works, it's a little bit different than a Nebraska preliminary. Um, so Nebraska, we only have one pageant. It's a one and done. So you compete, Miss Gay Nebraska, you win, you go to nationals. Or if you get first alternate, you can also go to nationals. Miss Gay Iowa is a bit different. We have prelims for each city in Iowa, in each town.
Oh.
So we will have a prelim in all the way from, I don't believe Sioux City has one, but about Des Moines to Dubuque. So we have Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, um, Dubuque, Ames, I believe. Iowa City is a big one. And then all the winners, first alternates, whoever, appointees, we all go to Miss Gay Iowa in Ames at Bigwigs this year and compete.
Okay.
And so whoever wins out of that group will go to nationals, represent Iowa. So
Awesome. Okay. So it
yeah,
looks like here, I just pulled this up Miss Gay Iowa US of A
yes,
2022,
yes,
January 30th.
yes,
Looks like
the 30th,
Friday.
30th.
Yep. So it says Friday, January 28th, 10 p.m. contestant show, Saturday, January 29th, 10 p.m. All Stars show, and then January 30th at 8 p.m.
Yes, yep. And then
Awesome.
Katya will actually be stepping down as Miss Gay Iowa. We also will have Kennedy Davenport, who is the reigning Miss Gay US of A, in attendance. So it should be a good time. It's going to
All
be an
right.
exciting pageant.
I'm going to see if I can pull this up here real quick. Sometimes when I pull up and share my screen, it makes it look so small.
Oh, right.
So it's kind of hard to
So,
see. I don't know how to zoom
yes,
in,
there we go.
but this is, and there we go. I can make it a little bit bigger,
Perfect.
but this
Yeah.
is cool. There's your drag mama.
There she is with her little hat on.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
she left.
She did. Yes, she moved to Fort Lauderdale. Gosh, has it been a year now? She moved a little bit before I moved to Des Moines. So,
Well, I was wondering why she had been so quiet.
yeah, I know it's unlike her, isn't it?
Right? Like, well, she moved out of the area, so now I don't see much of her posts, right? But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
also feel like there's, I think Facebook suppresses stuff all the time.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
all the little algorithms and
yep.
but yeah, she's doing very well out there. I know she's hosting some shows out there. I believe she performs in Miami sometimes. So yeah, she's doing great.
Wow, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about what you have to do to get prepared for a run like the Miss Gay Iowa pageant. What all does
Sure.
that entail? Like
Yeah, so there's
the
Oopsie.
Miss Gay
Sorry
Iowa
about that. I
pageant.
just
Accidentally pulled up the Facebook page.
oh,
We were hearing ourselves echoed live.
that's what that was. Okay.
It wasn't you losing
Okay.
your mind, or me losing mine.
Oh,
You're like, wait a
but
minute,
yeah,
his mouth isn't moving and he's asking that question
yeah, I
again.
said, wait, what's going on? But no, there's let's see, there is oh gosh, three categories. So there, well, technically four. You have presentation, create a presentation, which is unjudged. That is just basically to the judges get to know essentially who you are as an entertainer on stage. And then you have, before the pageant starts, probably the biggest category is interview. It's essentially goes about the same way as a job interview would. You're going to sit down. The judges will ask you a bunch of questions, maybe about, I want to say it lasts about 10-15 minutes, I think. Then you have evening gown. So basically, evening gown's all about the cut of the dress. It grazes the floor. You always want lots of rhinestones, as many as you can get. Big pageant updo, jewelry, and then you have talent, of course, which is you can do basically a really great drag number. You can sing live. Basically, whatever your talent is, that's what you present. So.
And so what do you think it takes to win a pageant like that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to, as far as pageants go for me, I am all about using my resources. Resources number one. If you know somebody who can make hair, who's a great hairstylist, reach out to that person. If you know somebody who makes great jewelry, reach out to that person. If you know somebody who is a great seamstress, reach out to that person. And then at the same time, I think that's a lot to do with community building, is supporting one another as well. Your local entertainers, or not just entertainers, but uh, your local designers and their smaller businesses as well. So that's a big part of pageantry. Also, just I think knowledge as well, taking knowledge, acquiring that knowledge from other generations. I know a lot of people just kind of go in head first, just start right in. you really want to look at the people who have done it before you. Um, I know Katya has. I'm lucky to have Katya. She's ran for plenty of pageants. Um, I have a great community behind me, and like Tiana just said, support is a big thing as well. If you don't have support, it's a lot harder to go into something like that. It's a lot easier to go into something like that knowing you have a team behind you.
Sure. And so how can someone who maybe isn't part of your team support you?
Yeah, absolutely. In all honesty, I know everybody posts their Venmos and all of that a lot. Beyond financial, I think just I know show up. Not everybody can be there in person. A big thing for me when I was running for past pageants is just seeing people in the audience, hearing those people. Um, because when you're on stage, I'm not gonna lie, it's you can get so nervous. It's nerve wracking, and knowing you have people there just behind you is everything.
So do you think that the judges at pageants like that are tougher than just like a smaller pageant, or do you think that they all kind of judge the same? What would you say? What would you tell someone who's thinking about running for their first pageant?
Yeah, definitely. Technically, it really depends on the judge. For a local pageant, I would say usually, for the most part, judges aren't going to be as technical. If you're running for a state prelim or nationals, they're going to look at every tiny little thing. Like, is there a snag on a bead on your dress? Like, is there just a minuscule little stain or a tiny little rip in a fishnet or something? They're gonna hone in on just those little things for sure.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So they can give some pretty harsh feedback when they're judging those pageants.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Because I mean,
That's just yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's just part of the preparation. You want to make sure once you have what you have, you don't want to touch it till the day of. You know,
yeah,
you don't want to go out wearing what you're going to wear for the pageant in a show.
right.
Let everyone see it. Let it get ruined or something. So
Yeah, and I think that's another thing from some of the conversations that I've had with folks who've come on who are performers is, it's not an inexpensive thing to do. And
absolutely not.
and so that's the other piece of it that I think that is, and then the other thing about getting a title is then there are other places where you have potential to perform and be able to get your face in other audiences because
Right.
they see you as a more seasoned performer. But I mean, an average show can cost, easily a couple of grand to get ready
Oh,
for.
absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, I'll be honest. I wouldn't consider myself um, a pageant girl per se.
Yeah.
Um, One of the reasons I like pageants is because it pushes me to do um, what I wouldn't necessarily otherwise. And so I feel like when you challenge yourself to do the exact opposite of what you're comfortable with, that's where you start growing as an entertainer a lot. Um, there's some pageant girls I'd love to see just get down and dirty too at this at the same time.
Well, what would you say to somebody who's watching, who's maybe thinking about getting started and isn't sure how to get started? What would you recommend?
Yeah. In drag or pageants.
Well, we'll start with drag and then we'll go
Yeah.
with pageants because we've got what 17 minutes left here.
Right. Sure.
And you've got plenty of
um,
time.
yeah. I mean, if you want to start drag, I'd say start with an open stage, which is something in Lincoln that Anya and Polly just started. I want to say every second Sunday now at Oz House, they have an open stage. Um, Tia Pet in Lincoln, her show Pinata. She has a pre-show with an open stage. If you win, you get to be part of the main show. I
Oh,
know my daughter Dior, she is doing an open stage at OMC. She's starting there. That there. I
So
think the Max is still doing open stage as well.
so is open stage something where it kind of like like if you go to a bar and you're a musician and you just get your name on the list and then they call your name and you come up and you perform? Is it that the same
Correct.
concept?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
we
it's
have them. Yeah. In Des Moines, we have them every Wednesday at two different bars. We have the Saddle actually is moving to every second and fourth Sunday for open stage. At the Garden, we have open stage every single Wednesday. And that is probably the best way to just get in there. I know so many people have just on a whim just said, I want to do drag. And so they'll slap on whatever they got and go for it. Because a lot of the times it's not about what you wear, it's just getting your feet in the water. You'll build those things. No one's going to start off with any $1,000 costumes or anything. You're going to, the main stage is just getting on, the main start of it is getting on stage, I think. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, because you said, I mean, even someone like you has been performing for quite some time. When you're getting up there still are those nerves that you're having to deal with, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even myself, sometimes I'll just get the jitters out of nowhere. And sometimes those things just don't go away. You're just going to have to go for it.
Yes. Let's see here. I'm trying to send you some money. I think this is the right Venmo. I think, yep. At Babygirl 1995.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna create a quick banner here. If somebody wants to support Babygirl's pageant run, you can
Oh,
shoot
yes, thank you. I would
her
appreciate
some
it.
coin at, let me put this up here, at Babygirl 1995. What is that? Is that date significant for some reason? Is that right?
Yes, there we go.
So, 1995, is that?
Yes, yes. Oh, that's year I was born.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You are just a baby girl.
We're pushing 30 now. We're over 25, so we got to be careful.
Oh my gosh, 1995.
Yeah.
You're just a little pup still. No wonder you're, like, going to those shows at night and then hopping on over to brunch in the
Right.
morning. I remember what it was like to be 26.
I got a little energy left in me.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's sometimes my brain will hop out of bed really fast. It's just the body.
Hmm. Yep, yep. Just the body.
Oh, yeah. It can be slow to
Yeah, sometimes you get your
along.
body out of bed, but your mind's still in there.
Yeah. Well, the reverse of that is absolutely true. What would you
Yeah.
say is what is something that you wish someone would have told you when you started out performing that you kinda had to find out on
Mm,
your own as you were going along?
um, maybe take your time, I guess. Definitely take if somebody would have told me to take my time a little bit more. I know I would go. I still do it. I still need to take my time. Sometimes I'll just go, 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 and I'm like, I have to do this, and I have to get this done, and this is what I want to do, and I have to do it by this time. And sometimes things will come to you. You don't have to chase them per se.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's true just in life in general,
Yeah,
right? Not just
absolutely.
about
Yeah,
performing
not
and
just
drag
drag,
shows.
just everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking about that, what kind of, I mean, what other things do you think you've learned performing that are life lessons that people could take with them?
Yeah. Don't take anything too serious. Number one, I think that's been a part of my growth in drag. I produce a lot of shows, um, but I'm always trying to, especially like with Melanin Magic, I never want to be that person just, I don't want it to feel like a 9 to 5, if that makes sense. You
Yeah.
still have to have fun with whatever you're doing. If you're not having fun, what are you doing it for? You know?
And I agree. And I feel that way about a 9 to 5 too.
Yeah. No,
I
absolutely.
mean,
Absolutely.
it's one of those things. I think it's really important for, um, you know, I've recently learned that I have to really take care of myself holistically and completely because I can't,
Right.
like you say, I mean, I can't run on, I can't be running all over town doing all the things and not taking care
Hmm.
of myself or, um, burning the candle at both ends. I mean, you can only do that for so long before you kind of start to crash and burn.
Right.
But I will say this much. I do think that there are a lot of life lessons to learn. I mean, I've watched the, drag community really evolve over time. I'm grateful to see many of the changes because I do know, and I'll speak very candidly so you don't have to. I do know that there have been issues within the local drag community when it comes to folks who are transgender, when it comes to
Hmm.
folks who are Black and Brown and Indigenous, people of color. I mean, a lot of the problems that kind of happen in our world, or not kind of, they do happen in the world, are definitely happening in drag.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it happens in the drag community. It happens in performance community. It happens in
Maybe
the
sometimes more than
LGBT.
anywhere else, even.
Yep. And I've seen it happen in the work that I've done in with Heartland Pride because,
Hmm.
I was one of the people who founded Heartland Pride.
Right. 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 Right.
And, there were lots of hills along the way and, there's a lot of evolution that has taken place. Um, I think inside of what has happened with the pandemic, what has happened with, the continual murders of Black people. This past year we saw the highest numbers on record murders of transgender people and the highest numbers of Black transgender women.
Hmm.
And so, I think it's just really important that, I think about when I was younger, when I was your age and I was going to places like the Max and meeting some of the performers and just thinking about just some of the ways in which they acted and some of the ways in which they treated one another.
Right.
And it was so disappointing to me.
Yeah.
It was the really good performers, were the ones to me, were the ones who actually were welcoming everyone in. And
Yes.
so what I'm
Yep.
saying is I don't care if you were a onstage shitty performer, if you were welcoming everyone in, because it's kind of the antithesis of what we wanna stand as a community, right? How can we have pride
Absolutely.
in our
Absolutely.
community if we're not treating one another with dignity and pride?
Yeah. Exactly.
And
And that
so,
comes with, yeah, that comes with representation on stage so much too. Is, if we can't support each other, um, in the minorities within our own community, how do we expect the rest of the world to do that?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's been some tough conversations happen. I mean, I've seen some stuff,
Yeah.
I'm tuned into social media.
Oh, I'm all about a tough conversation.
Oh, I know you are.
Yeah.
I think Kiana might be too.
Oh, she
And that's
definitely is.
the truth of the matter is this. I mean, it's like I say, if you don't say anything, it's worse than if you actually say something.
Mm,
And
yeah, yeah.
you may have to weather some storms along the way in that. But the truth of the matter is that I would rather yeah, she was like, "Yeah, oh." I would rather be the guy that says the thing that nobody else wants to say
Yes,
and just let you go ahead and hate me. Because honestly, I could care
yes.
less, you
I'm
know?
so glad you actually brought that up. Yeah. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. I think as performers, especially, and people, even if you're not a performer, but if you have a platform and a community, and all you can do is stay silent, that's not our job. Our jobs are to speak on these things. That's why we're up there. A lot of people would uh, fight so hard to have that megaphone that we have. So if you're not using it, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of a waste.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things, when it was interesting because I think the evolution has been faster since I came out as trans in 2015. Because that first few years when I came out as trans, there wasn't really as much open support. There
Right,
were folks, there was such a lack of knowledge, and
right,
within the community that was just, I mean, so toxic because it was like, I mean, I literally had gay male friends who tried to rationalize away their referring to me as girl. And there were my female friends who many of them are not friends with me anymore,
right.
who thought I was somehow threatening their being a dyke by my being a trans person coming out as trans. And I just have to laugh because I'm just like, look, first of all, my coming out as trans has absolutely nothing to do with your
Yeah, nothing at
identity.
all.
And if you're threatened by it, maybe you ought to take a look at what's going on with you.
Yeah,
Really?
that seems like an internal problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like you might be projecting some shit onto me, and I'm not here for it, and I'm not
right,
having it. But
right.
I
And you shouldn't have to.
right, and I look at it like this though. I was like, I actually went through a lot. Like I got beat up and bloodied a number of times metaphorically on social media because I did stand up and I did speak out and I did say things and I was the guy who was going to say what nobody else in the room was going to say. I mean, people would invite me to sit on their boards. And I was like, no,
Hmm.
that doesn't work.
One of the first times, yeah, one of the first times I met you actually was in person was the Star City Pride Board meeting a few years ago.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
certainly not quiet there, was I?
no, you were not, and I loved every second of it. Yeah, I definitely. You're actually one of the people who definitely inspired me to speak up um, about these things because again, we can't be quiet about them. So we all need to use that megaphone if we have it.
Absolutely. And see, I think that's why we're kindred spirits in that way.
Absolutely,
I love
absolutely.
that about you, and I love that you are, doing what you're doing and doing what you love, and I hope that you continue to do that, and I want you to know that you have a place here on Speaking of Happy anytime you wanna share. You just shoot me a message and say, "Hey, you got some time? When's the next episode? Can I come on?" Even if I bring you on and there's another guest on, I don't care. I'm fine with that.
Oh, yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
do wanna continue to elevate your voice and continue to have people see that there are folks, people of color, Black, brown, and indigenous folks who are out here and doing this work and doing this, having fun and creating lives that they love. And that, you deserve to thrive and have that happiness. Right. So,
Absolutely. Everyone does. Yeah.
yeah. So anything else you want to tell us before we end for the evening? We got a couple minutes left. Any other
Oh,
have you forgotten anything? We got Miss US of or
mhm.
Miss Iowa, Miss Gay
Yeah.
Iowa. We got Melanin Magic. That's coming up on the 29th of January, and then
Yes.
there's gonna be
Yeah.
another show in February, the
There is.
27th,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then
The front.
the day after will be the brunch
Yes.
because 'cause you're
Yes.
doing the night before and the day after.
Right.
One of those 2 things. Aw, you've got lots of love coming from Kiana. Now, does she need something from you?
Oh gosh, who knows? I
Omaha
love you.
show. There's an Omaha
Oh
show.
yes, 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 yes. Tiana is actually hosting a show. Her drag name Saint. She is hosting the very first drag show in Omaha this Sunday at
Oh.
Bar 415.
Oh. Is
Yes,
it
there's
is
quite
it
a big cast. Yeah,
is
there's
it another
it's
brunch show or is it a night show?
no, it's gonna be a night show. Yeah,
Okay.
Bar 415 is their first drag show they've ever done, so that's going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All
I'll be
right.
their co-hosting.
415. What's the dates on that? I was trying to pull it up here.
It's whatever this next Sunday is. I'm not sure.
So it's a Sunday night show.
Sunday night, yes.
Is that the 30th?
That would be next Sunday, I think. I think maybe the 21st.
This coming Friday is the 21st, I think.
Oh, so it'd be the 23rd. The 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 23rd at Bar 415 in Omaha.
In
There's
Omaha,
going to
yes.
be a show. I was trying to see if they have anything on here about it on their page on Bar 415, but I don't see it.
Yeah, they might not. Not sure.
Well, what's up with that?
Right. Let's get some promotion, Bar 415.
I mean, do you want people in the crowd or not?
Right.
All right. Yep. There she goes. She says 23rd.
23rd. There we
Yep. You're an amazing co-host.
go.
Oh, I just love my mother. See, so she's not okay. I take that back, Kiana. I was just teasing because you know how kids are when they want something from their mom. They butter them up first, then they make the big ask.
Yeah, then they're asking if we can stop at McDonald's on the way home from the store.
Right? Can you bring me home some ice cream, please?
No, I got a hamburger out this morning.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, that's it. It's the end of our hour. Thank y'all so much, baby girl. So nice to talk to you and hear a little bit more about what you have going on. That's me and Dior when we need to borrow something. All right. See, I did call your number, Kiana.
Yes. You got.
Right. So, Baby Girl, you can catch Baby Girl at Melanin Magic last Sunday of the month at Doss House in Lincoln. So there is a show. It is the Janet Jackson tribute show in January. And then in February, again, the last Saturday of the month, Melanin Magic at Doss House in Lincoln. And the very next day is Drag Brunch Lincoln, which is at what venue again?
Longwells.
Okay. At Longwells. And you can actually, if you just type into Google Drag Brunch Lincoln, it will pull up their Facebook page.
It sure will.
And you can buy tickets to those shows. And then there is, so that's Lincoln. Yep. And then the 23rd is the show that Kiana is producing that you are going to co-host and be at here in Omaha. So again, thank you so much for joining us here on Speaking of Happy. Thank you all so much for sharing and sharing your love and being here and watching the show. Again, next Tuesday evening, 9 p.m., I'll be back here with Avalisa for another episode of Frankly Speaking. We're working on some very special guests. I can't tell you any secrets yet, but we're working on some very special guests. So every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. If you tune into our Facebook page, we will have some sort of live stream event happening. So again, thank you so much, baby girl. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eli.
You're welcome. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. All righty.